For the untouchable, true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire, and y'all know the rest, guys. Now listen, wanted to talk about this featherweight division because we got some interesting things, some interesting stories, some interesting news to report out of the featherweight division because the former IBF featherweight champion, the man that not so long ago was regarded as the best featherweight in the world, Venado Lopez, he took to Twitter and he revealed that recently he was offered a contract and has accepted a contract to fight none other than the WBO champion and one of the fighters, but probably I would say the fighter that's regarded by many to be the best featherweight in the world right now, and that is Rafael Espinoza. He's accepted a contract to fight him according to what he's saying. Now, we haven't had any confirmation from Espinoza. We haven't heard anything from Top Rank, and truth be told, I've heard through the grapevine that, Espinoza is actually going to fight somebody else, and it's not Venado Lopez, and it's not a Mexican fighter either. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see who's telling the truth, and we'll see if this is just clout chasing. But if this is true, let's just consider that it is true and take Venado at his word. First of all, Venado has mentioned an Espinoza fight multiple times. I've talked about it in the past, and I've always said, look, I think it's an awesome fight. I think it's a really interesting fight. Even without Venado having a title, I still think it's an awesome fight, and it's a fight that I wouldn't mind seeing happening because I think the styles mesh well. You got two Mexicans in the ring, two Mexicans in an all-action fight that I think for both of them is a legacy-defining fight because, from the Espinoza side of things, the perception is that he's the best featherweight in the world by many people in boxing right now, right? Because he's 6'1", bone density like crazy, punches hard, and he's looked at to be a stylistic nightmare to any and all opponents because of his combination of height, volume, punching, and toughness, right? But let's be real. Since he became champion, he ain't really fought no killer. He fought Robesi, which was a good fight, but that's about it. If you remove Robesi Ramirez from Espinoza's record, what has he really fought? He hasn't really fought a murderer's row, if we're just being honest. Edward Vasquez is a good fighter, but Edward Vasquez came down from 130, to featherweight. That's whatever, that was a whatever fight designed to make Espinoza look good. To me, it's very debatable, and I would debate it actually. I would say that Venado Lopez, even now, if as long as he makes the weight healthily, he's the best fighter Espinoza's ever fought. So I think we'll learn some things about Espinoza, and I think stylistically, it's a dangerous fight for Espinoza, right? I really think that. I think that. For Venado, he hasn't really been. He had one little bullshit fight, stay busy fight, comeback fight in Mexico, but he hasn't really fought anything significant since he got knocked out into the 10th dimension by Angelo Leo. So he needs this fight for his legacy, for himself to get back to the top of the division and to put himself in a prime position very quickly to get a rematch, which I know he wants because I've heard him talk about it in Spanish interviews with Angelo Leo. So. Yeah, really good fight. And I think stylistically, Venado Lopez, I think it'll be interesting to see how can he still make featherweight healthily? Because I'll be honest, guys, Venado Lopez is the kind of fighter that he's big enough and he's strong enough. He could probably fight a lightweight and do pretty good for himself. I really believe that. How he made featherweight, I don't know. And I know for a fact that he struggles making the featherweight limit. So for this camp, if this fight does happen, his team, everyone involved with his team, himself, everyone is going to have to be dialed in on the nutrition, on when he goes to bed, on when he's eating, on how he's eating, everything. Monitoring how he's training in the gym, making sure he doesn't overtrain and peak at the wrong time. Everything has to be done to the best of his abilities because this is a legacy fight for him, and a win here would really put Venado Lopez in a whole other stratosphere, and it would get him back involved in some major fights. And this is a major fight, you understand? So I think the best version of Venado Lopez can knock out Rafael Espinoza. But after he got knocked out against Angelo Leo and beat up the way he did, is that guy still there? We shall soon find out. For Espinoza, again, like I said, if the best Venado shows up or anything close to it shows up, I think he's the best fighter that Espinoza's fought. So Espinoza gets a chance to put some depth into that resume of his because it needs some depth, if we're just being honest. So I love the fight, and I want to get that perfectly established, and I think it's a great fight for the division. But at the same time, I got to push back a little bit, and I got to be honest here. You fighting the guy that got knocked out by Angelo Leo, but why are you not fighting Angelo Leo? You know, Angelo Leo is a champion just like you're a champion, and you've already had 3 defenses of the title. Angelo's had 1 out there in Japan, right? He defended his on foreign soil. So my thing is, why is Espinosa not fighting Angelo Leo? You know, that's a fight that I know Angelo wants. We want that fight. Angelo wants that fight. I want that fight. Miguel Leo wants that fight. The whole team wants that fight. I'm not gonna sit here and do the whole thing about, oh, he's scared. I don't think Espinosa's scared. I think Espinosa is a true warrior of the sport, and I think Espinosa will fight anybody. You know, he's like that. But I've told you guys what the deal is, and you guys refuse to listen to me. You guys think that I'm just talking, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And listen, I don't know quantum physics. I'm not the most informed on geopolitics and those kind of things. But if there's one thing I know a little bit about, it's this boxing shit. And I've been telling you guys that Zamfir Promotions, the Mexican promotional company led by Fernando Beltran. I told you guys, if you guys ever watch my lives or my videos when I tell you about guys about Espinosa and how his career is going to move, I always tell you guys, say, look, Espinosa's not scared of no one, but Zamfir Promotions has a long track record of their fighters winning world titles and milking the living hell out of these world titles. Look at Zoto Ramirez. Look at Jaime Munguia. If you guys know those guys, if you guys know those fighters' careers, you know how they were moved, all right? And I told you guys a while ago, I've been telling you guys for the longest time now, you can expect Espinosa's career to move in a similar fashion. And this is still a dangerous fight against Venado, but that's what's happening here. And on top of that, to make matters worse, you know, Top Rank don't got a TV deal, and Top Rank's is not in a great stage right now, so they're not going to try to match, you know, one guy in Espinosa who's an outright Top Rank fighter, and then a guy with Angelo who, you know, they have a piece of. They're not going to match them each other. They're not going to match those guys with each other right now because they don't even have a network. So they're trying to figure that out. So I'm gonna give Top Rank the benefit of the doubt. But again, like Espinosa, you know, for being honest here, Venado's a very good fighter, and I give Espinosa and Venado credit for stepping up to the plate and making a great fight happen for the division. But if we're just being honest here, Espinosa is about to fight Angelo Leo's leftovers, and people aren't saying anything about it. But I will. I'm gonna put it out there, right? And I wish him the best. I think it's a good fight. I think either way, like I've been telling you guys, whether it's Espinosa, whether it's Venado, whether it's Naoya Inoue when he comes up, all roads in the featherweight division lead to Angelo Leo because he's the best fighter in the division. And you guys continue to not believe, and I keep telling you guys, and we just keep winning, and we're going to keep winning. It's eventually one of these guys is going to have to come see him. And I don't give a damn which one it is. I'm not really worried about Venado or Espinosa. I think Angelo can beat both those guys. But personally, I would like the Espinosa fight. This was just because that's the guy that everyone sees as the killer, as the number one guy. And so if you beat him, you beat one guy who some people thought was number one, and you beat the other guy who people think is number one. What does that make you? That makes you number one. And that puts him in a prime position where now he has 2 titles, and he can get that leverage for when Inoue comes up, right? So that's what I want to happen. But again, boxing will dictate who fights and who doesn't. So as long as Espinosa keeps winning and Angelo keeps winning, then the fight will happen. And I think, look, and I'll end the video on this note on a positive note. Rafael Espinoza and Angelo Leo, I think, is a great fight from a business standpoint, from a marketing standpoint. I think if they were to do that fight in Las Vegas at the Fontainebleau, which is a great venue, you know, Fontainebleau is a newer hotel, right, in Vegas. I think the Fontainebleau for Inoue and Espinosa would be a great venue. And you know what? Maybe I'm thinking too small. Maybe they could do that fight maybe like at Mandalay Bay. How about Mandalay Bay? Fontainebleau, Mandalay Bay. I think the fight does great business. I think, you know, Espinosa, he's developed a great fan base. You know, when I was at the Inoue fight, he fought on the undercard against Edward Vasquez, and he had a big percentage of that crowd. I would say there was 8,000 people there, and maybe about 3,000 or 3,500 were there for Espinosa, right? Just being honest. So he's already carrying a big fan base. You put him in a big fight against another Mexican-American fighter with a fan-friendly style who is a world champion in a big unification fight. I think a lot of the Mexican fans will come out for Espinosa. And then I also think a lot of the Mexican Americans and Mexican fans will come out for Angelo Leo because he's gained a lot of fans since the knockout against Venado, defending the belt against Kameda in Japan. And another thing too about Angelo is Angelo lives and trains in Las Vegas, but he hasn't had a fight in Las Vegas since 2017 when he was fighting on the Samstown cards in as a prospect. So he deserves a chance to fight, you know, in Las Vegas. He's gained a lot of fans, made a lot of friends over the years in Las Vegas, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to come out and support Angelo Leo for this fight. So I'm looking at that fight. If them two fight, you're gonna sell it easy. You're selling it easy 5,000 to maybe 8 to 10. I'm gonna say anywhere from 5 to 10,000. So I think venues like the Fontainebleau are in play. I think even Mandalay Bay is in play if marketed and done properly. So I'm not like the most angry about it. I like the Venado Espinoza fight, but if Espinoza beats Venado, it'll be his 4th defense of the title. I would assume and presume, because you know, from what I've heard, and I talked to Miguel Leo. I'm part of Team Leo. I haven't heard anything from Miguel Leo or anything about, you know, any champions wanting to fight. So I'd be led to believe that a voluntary is next for Angelo's fight, whenever that is, and he'll win that fight, and then he'll have 2 defenses. Espinoza will have 4. We're at a stage now where, you know, okay, these guys are now solidified champions. You know, Stephen Fulton is not in the division anymore. He's fighting Foster. He doesn't want to be at featherweight because he can't make the weight, even though he just got here, right? So that raised some questions about his discipline in the sport these days. But Nick Ball, you know, they're hell bent on waiting for NOA. They're not fighting any featherweights, so I doubt we even get Nick Ball to fight either Angelo or Espinoza. So in my mind, this is the most makeable fight in the division, and I feel like, you know, if they do fight, it's going to be one of the most explosive fights in boxing. And you know, may the best man win. Obviously, I think Angelo is going to fold after Espinoza in about 7 rounds or less if they do fight. But you know, it's one of them fights, man. It's one of those fights. It's just one of those legacy-defining fights. The styles are going to mesh well, and I look forward to seeing who's who. But in the intermediate time, I'm not mad at Venado versus Espinoza. I just had to highlight. I had to put it out there for you guys because, you know, I just feel like people aren't going to give Espinoza enough flack. Or not Espinoza, but like Zamfir Promotions, like Fernando Beltran. And I'm this close. I'm this close to going to find his number or contact info. I'm about to really start talking to him myself and be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, why do you not want this fight? Like, are you afraid that your investment's going to get ruined? Are you afraid that, you know, Espinoza ain't really on that level? Like, Espinoza's an awesome fighter. You should have confidence in him. You know, I would. If I was promoting or managing Espinoza, I would have all the confidence in the world in him because there's a lot to be confident about. But that's neither here nor there. You guys, let me know what you think. What do you guys think about Rafael Espinoza against Venado Lopez? Venado Lopez says that he has accepted the offer to fight Espinoza. What chance are you giving Venado? Are you giving him a chance? Are you writing him off? And which fight do you guys think is more intriguing? Angelo Leo versus Rafael Espinoza for the you know, potentially the #1 spot in the division, or the rivalry, the rematch between Angelo and Venado Lopez? You know, because, you know, whoever wins that fight, if they do fight, whoever wins that fight, that winner of that fight is going to be linked to Angelo Leo. So we might as well just start talking about it now. Angelo versus Espinoza or Angelo versus Venado 2? You guys tell me which is the more intriguing fight. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Ding. So until next time, thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.